What is up, guys? KFC back here with another video. This one going to be a little bit of a special video. Going to be kind of talking about the state of the Goodfellas clan family, where I see Maine is right now, where I see Rising is right now, and then kind of the future for both clans and kind of where we're at. And so I know it scared a lot of people when I said I was going to be putting out a video like this. But I definitely want to talk about a lot of things and a lot of shifts that I've seen in the clan, even over the past 4 months. I think the clan has changed just so much in 2016. And, in the past, I would have written up a little memo on kind of everything and kind of given a nice little summary. But given that I have the YouTube now, figured might as well go ahead and make this private video. I'll go ahead and have some stuff kind of rolling in the back, and I'll just kind of get going. So let's go ahead and look at our. There was a couple wars ago actually, where Demasta actually apparently he went in and 3-starred their number one after I had done the recording. So let's go ahead and start with this one. All right, so in terms of kind of the state of the Goodfellas, I'll kind of break this up into Maine versus Rising, and then kind of at the end I'll tie in the kind of the vision for both clans for the future. So I think in terms of the Goodfellas Maine clan, I feel like we've had just a ton of turnover recently, not just in terms of the number of people that have turned over, but just in terms of the personalities that we've lost as well, and I'll get to those a little bit. But I think right now, I think the clan itself is filled with a lot of really talented elite players. I think that we all have a really good understanding of the game. I think we understand how to use hogs, valks, balloons. I think especially at the Town Hall 9 level, Town Hall 10 level, we're all still kind of developing. I think, though, what's missing for me and what used to make the clan so much more fun for me was the idea that it wasn't just a clan filled with talented elite people, but it was filled with talented elite people who were truly addicted to the game. And so I can talk a little bit more about that for people that may be a little bit newer to the clan. But when I first went to Town Hall 9, there was just so much resource sharing among the clan. The base building chat was kind of going 24/7. Everyone was motivated to kind of make these anti-3 bases when we were running into them for the first time. The attacks themselves were just they were very new to us. We were trying holos, we were trying, shatter laloons for the first time. It was just all so very new, and the Town Hall 9 scene was so new to us. I remember, finding one hive and then finding this guy named Powerbang and what he had to bring to the table. We were always searching for new information and trying to get better, and it just seemed like, we were all putting a lot of time into the game, and I've definitely taken a little bit of a step back as well, but there was times where I would spend up to 3 hours a day kind of watching videos and trying to kind of perfect my craft a little bit, and, especially once the weekends kind of came around, I was on all the time, and I just remember all the chat rooms were always buzzing. There were so many sketches that were being shown. I was sketching, Pico was sketching, Frank and Jake were sketching, Onyx was sketching. It was just kind of like the thing that every war was kind of like 3 or 4 hours of guys trying to figure out, like, how do we make it in this Town Hall 9 heavy world. And I feel like now the addiction level is starting to be replaced with more of a burnout. And I think that's natural. I think that Town Hall 9, if you look at it, is one that takes well over a year to kind of get yourself from brand new Town Hall 9 to even the chance to go to Town Hall 10. And I think, sorry, I have to pause my thoughts here for a second as I shift over to the next war. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I feel like the clan just doesn't have guys that are really committed to that style anymore. We have some guys like Edgar who have 30-30 heroes. They don't necessarily have a reason to log on very much. But the turnover for sure has been the thing that's kind of gotten to me the most. So, playing this game with guys like Pico, Scott, Frank, Grave, Liquid, SRD, Onyx has really been what's been keeping me going. And the more and more I watch kind of those personalities, it's not necessarily the clan that they have a problem with. For pretty much all of them, it's just kind of other life stuff got in the way, or the game just kind of ran its course for them, and they just kind of needed to hang up. And that's going to happen for all of us. We're all going to have to, at some point, hang up this game because it's no longer going to be something that really engages us kind of intellectually. I mean, when you think about how long the Town Hall 9 journey takes, right? I mean, at the end of the day, Town Hall 9 doesn't have any kind of new defenses. We had the air sweepers that kind of came in there, but it seemed like for the most part those haven't really changed the air metagame all that much. And there's only so many different ways you can break down Town Hall 9 bases before you start to get the feeling that you're doing sort of the same thing. And so my own engagement with the clan has been a little bit more. I feel like I do really well with the administrative role. I set up the clash tools. I make sure that the war gets started. If we have 19 for war, I figure out who the 20th person is. But my own kind of desire to play the social game has kind of gone down a little bit. And, I feel like that's caused our clan to kind of not necessarily leave the elite scene, so to speak, because I do feel, like I said, we still have very talented elite players, but what I feel like we're missing at this moment in time is the real, like, who are the members of our clan who are really pushing everybody to be better. So in wars where we cleared the Town Hall 9s, I mean, back in the day, I used to be the guy that was like, hey, like, if you have a Town Hall 9 attack left, don't take your foot off the gas pedal just because all the 9s are cleared. Like, we really want to use this as a time to practice. And I'd be lying if I said that I even knew. After the 9s get cleared, I kind of just instantly check out. I don't know what attacks go in after that. I don't know what people do. And that was just kind of eye-opening for me because I feel like for those of you that have had conversations about my leadership style, and you can look it up if it's of interest to you, or maybe I'll figure out a way to put it up on the screen. But my leadership style is what's called a pace-setting leadership style, and that's that I set high expectations and I set high goals, and that pace-setting style really only works if I'm leading by example. And at the moment, I don't necessarily feel like I'm leading by example. I can't tell you the last time that I sketched a plan or I really utilized my teammates to kind of break down a base. I kind of play the game by myself at this point, and I just happen to have the results that allow that to happen. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the changes that are going to come to the main clan a little bit later. I still want to address the state of the clan first. So the state of Maine, big overall summary is I feel like we're all really, really good players. We understand to get both of our attacks in. We understand the concept of 9s going first. And I feel like Maine is going to keep going forward as the 24/7 hardcore war clan. And then, like I said, I'll get to the changes in a little bit. But next, I want to talk a little bit about TGF Rising and kind of the state of that clan. I think that just kind of recently, I'd say within the last couple of days, I've realized how much work Rising really needs to do just in order to even be considered kind of in that elite scene. So when you think back to what I just said, I don't know, 8 minutes, probably like 4 or 5 minutes ago, around when I was a new Town Hall 9, when I had those 10-10 heroes, 10-5 heroes, I mean, I was all in trying to learn how to be an expert at that specific Town Hall level. And what's interesting is that when I look at TGF Rising right now and I go over their roster, there's so many guys that have 10-10 heroes or 11-14 heroes or whatever it is, but by and large, the prep room for Rising is just kind of dry. And no one's posting videos. Everyone just kind of, it's a lot of players, and I mean this in a respectful way because I feel like it happens a lot in team kind of stuff and organizations. It's a lot of guys who understand the high-level principle of the attacks, but maybe aren't as interested in kind of learning the kind of the nitty-gritty of the attacks, if that makes sense, right? So I'll just pause this replay to show the example right here, right? If I feel like the members of TGF Rising, it's not obviously a great base to show this example, but I feel like some guys in TGF Rising would say, I need to get the queen, and I need to negate as many double spots as possible, so I'm going to come in from the bottom left to nab the queen, and then I will hog the backside, right? That's kind of a high-level overview of the way that a Rising player thinks. But here's the problem with that, right, is that there's a double spot right here, and so you can't just say, oh, I'm going to hog the backside and shatter this side, because you have to take into account, well, how are my hogs in a path? How many hogs am I going to sacrifice to negate this double? Is it better to come from this angle and take a longer route to the queen? Because, if I place my jump spell right there, the king will run out and take the queen. Is that better? And so there's just a certain way that main players think about the game. And I think that was a result of us when we were younger Town Hall 9s, all kind of learning the metagame together. Those were questions that I was forcing people to answer. So when people posted up skitches that didn't negate all the potential double spots or didn't account for all the air defenses that they were going to get with their kill squad, which shattered, I would call them out on it. And unfortunately, I'm well over 2 years into this game at this point. I've got 3 accounts, and I just don't necessarily have that desire to teach other people. And what I see Rising doing is that they rely too much on me, or they rely too much on other people to kind of tell them what to do. And I've never been of the mindset that in order to become an expert at this game, you need other people to tell you how to do it, because at that point you're not learning. You're basically just doing something for compliance purposes. And I feel that dampens the learning process. And so I see it a ton in Rising, where these attacks go through, and some guys don't even ask for feedback, which is even worse. But it is what it is. People learn in different ways, and it's just not the vibe that I feel is worthy of kind of an elite level clan. Go back to the donations, right? That's a huge kind of question mark for me at this point. It's just crazy that the other day in the family chat, that I had to post a picture of somebody who had a request up for balloons, and they needed 5 balloons for their war attack. And that request was 2 hours and 24 minutes old. And there were 7-8 people that just talked above it. And other people are requesting for troops. There's someone who requested for a golem. If you trying to figure out the best way to say this, right? Like, just think about it in terms of just like straight out respect, right? If you're asking someone to give you a 675 cost Dark Elixir troop for war, and there's somebody else in your clan that's asking for 3,500 elixir cost troops, like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, why wouldn't you help out? I feel like Rising has created a culture where nobody that has 10-10 heroes or 10-5 heroes or Town Hall 8s, they just don't donate. With the exception of maybe Ellen, who I know is over 10,000 donations this season, who donates wizards like crazy. It just seems to be like if a request for a golem comes up, it's up to Law or Bravs to kind of supply that golem, and obviously Law has 40 heroes, and that, so you can say like, oh, well, hey, maybe it's his responsibility to do that. But that's never been set in stone, and Law has a different schedule than most of us, lives in like a little bit of a different time zone, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But Bravs especially. Bravs has 28, 32 heroes or something like that, or 30, 32 heroes. He does not need to be giving feed like every single golem to every single person in the war, because that's just going to cost him Dark Elixir too. There needs to be a culture that was created on accountability. And when Maine was going through it, I made sure, like, hey, like, I'll donate 2 golems this war, or we have like a buddy system. Like, if I needed a golem and Pico needed a golem, we would trade with each other. So I would give Pico one, he would give me one. And so this way it didn't always fall on the same people to donate. And, if it was just golems, I feel like I could create something for Rising that would like really, really help them kind of grow and develop. But I mean, it's simple stuff. It's people that request for anything. They're just farming. And they just want barbs and archers and wizards and giants. And those requests are going for 2, 3, 4 hours. And, it creates a huge concern for me that Rising is in the state where you should be more engaged in the new stages of a town hall than any other time in that town hall level. And so the reason why the Goodfellas has a feeder is to feed people up into the main clan. And when requests sit for 4 hours, that means that people aren't even logging in that much, right? I remember when I was a brand new Town Hall 9, I used to log in every 2 hours to make sure people didn't need troops. And that's just what's required for a high-level clan. Like, people need to make sure that they're getting stuff. We have an international clan presence. And so, yeah, long story short, it's just a huge kind of concern for me where kind of Rising is. And so now I want to shift. And I've given a lot of concerns and a lot of, criticisms of kind of where we're at as a clan. And now I kind of want to switch that to kind of move forward. For some reason, my recording is paused. So I'm just going to try and back out of this and see if I can get it to work here. I might have to pause this video here in a second to cut it. All right, sorry about that, guys. We'll skip on to the next attack and hope that the internet kind of holds up here. as I am 15 minutes into this recording. So let's talk about the future now that we've kind of gone over kind of my concerns, and like I said, most of it is just me. My own desire to play the game has dwindled, especially as I lost a lot of people that I just really enjoyed playing the game with. So let's talk about main first and changes that I see coming back to main. So I think that main is actually just going to get a little less. I don't want to say less organized, but the kind of the very strict rules system is going to kind of get abolished, and I'm sure in a certain aspect that's going to be looked at as a favorable change. So it's things that we're going to get rid of. We're going to completely get rid of the wave system in terms of signing up for attacks during certain kind of windows. It's just going to be a clan of accountability instead of a clan that follows a set rule system. Obviously we're still going to encourage the Town Hall 9s to kind of use the 8 hours left in war mark as kind of the key point in the war to kind of help the Town Hall 10s know if they're going to be dipping or not. But ultimately, if there's someone that just can't get their attacks in and they're going to get them in the last few hours of war, it'll just be what we have to deal with. And, if it means that we take some losses because of it, hopefully other people in the clan will step up and say, like, hey, like, we need to not do that. So we'll still use clash tools. We'll still kind of set the timers as probably 6 or 8 hours for when you call a base. But we're going to get rid of the purge system completely. The farming requirements are still going to stay there. I mean, 60 farming wins in a season, if you can't do that, I honestly just don't want anyone in the clan that can't get 60 farming wins in a season. It's just so embarrassing to anyone that can't do it. But the biggest change that I feel is coming for main is that arranged wars, or wars that I kind of set aside time to set up for us, I'm going to go ahead and suspend those a little bit, which might be a concern for some people, and for others it might not be. And so I want to encourage anyone that wants to be in a war clan that does arrange wars with well-known war clans. If that's what you want out of a hardcore war scene, I completely, totally understand that, and I encourage you to go find that. But what arranging wars really does is it falls on me primarily to be the one that does it. I mean, Liquid was doing it for a little while, and Liquid unfortunately burned out, and we saw that Liquid had to take a break from the game. It was kind of, I feel like it was something that he did to kind of figure out, like, oh, look, let me explore this part of the game. Let me set up the matchups and do the weights. And, it's just a ton of time. And I haven't met anyone else yet that's really like gung-ho about like, oh, like I'll set up the matchup and the roster and coordinate heroes up and heroes down and all that stuff. But I just don't have the desire to do it anymore. I think that we get in the Town Hall 10-9 bracket, I think we get paired up against enough. I mean, obviously this base was a good one that Brad just took out here. I think we get paired up against enough high-level competition that for me, looking ahead and saying, I really want to set up a kind of an arranged war against a One Hive or a WHF or something, it's just not on my list of priorities at the moment. I just want to kind of push the button and see what we have. So that is probably going to go away. So those are the things that I wanted to really kind of address with the main clan. I think kind of moving over to Rising, this is really going to be the meat of the video and the future of Rising. Rising is going to be what I'm framing it as disconnected from the main clan. It's still going to sort of kind of be a feeder, but it's going to be more of a sister. In that main clan is going to be closed, so that Rising cannot come over to watch replays. They cannot come over to get troops. People that are in the Rising family chat are going to be removed, and they're going to have their own chat in the prep room. They're going to basically be disassociated from main in terms of being a part of the family, so to speak, and they're going to do their own thing. And the reason why we're doing that is because as a leadership team, we just really feel there's just not a ton of guys in Rising who are close enough to coming to main to really warrant that clan kind of taking up the time. And so the main reason why it's also being disassociated is because I'm going to go ahead now and give the big news of this State of the Goodfellas / State of Kevin update. I'm going to go ahead and be retiring the Blue Summers and Torch Runner accounts. So both of those accounts are going to go to TGF Origins and not be active warring accounts. I may use them on occasion to go do a war with my brother's clan or something. But I have no desire at this point in my Clash life to continue to do 3 or 4 attacks every single day for Rising or for main clan, and if we have 19 to opt in the Camp Sizzle account, I think that I'm done with that kind of stuff. I would like to just scale back to 1 account, and so it's definitely going to be a really big change for Rising. And so how it's going to work is that Law and Bravs are going to take over Rising. They will be the connections to main. So I will not see anything that happens in Rising. I will not be a part of any war prep. People in Rising will not be connected to me in any way other than through maybe personal message. I'm kind of leaving you guys to kind of sink or swim for yourself. Do you guys have it in you as a group to kind of work together? But Law and Bravs will set the tone for Rising. And so Law and Bravs, at some point in time, I'm going to give them a copy of the rule sheet, and I'm going to say, you guys should make this what you want. So the farming regulations, those no longer apply to Rising. What to do with a hero up or a hero down no longer applies to Rising. The number of hours that you have per attack no longer applies to Rising. What the penalty is for missing an attack no longer applies. All that stuff will be determined by your new leaders. Law and Bravs will be able to, they will still be connected with main. And every now and then, I'll probably check in with them maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month to kind of say, like, hey, is there someone over there that you would like me to come look at for consideration to main? And the process of moving individuals from Rising to main is going to be a lot more structured. It's going to be a lot more rigorous. If Law and Brav say, hey, Kevin, we feel Alexander has really improved in the 2 months since we've disassociated from main, and we're going to kind of offer his name up as someone to kind of come over, it is at that time that I will spend the time to kind of get to know Alex a little bit more, figure out what makes him tick, see if he'll fit with the main culture. I'll talk to him a lot one-on-one. I'll force him to get on TeamSpeak and talk to me. So in order to make that transition from Rising to main, it's going to be more like that, where I check in periodically and names are provided to me. So that's the kind of the big news of this video. So I had a little post-it note with all the summary stuff, and I seem to have misplaced it. So I'm going to just try and do it in my head. So main clan is still going to be 24/7, still going to be an active war clan, but almost all the rules and regulations for main, with the exception of the farming rules, have dissipated. So forcing people to do feedback, forcing them to change their war base, forcing everyone to get on TeamSpeak, all of those requirements are gone. It's a clan of keeping each other accountable. So if we lose a war, if we notice that someone in the clan has been performing really poorly and nobody has heard from that person for weeks, that's going to be more of a clan-wide decision. So I'll kind of bring it up in the new family chat. I'll kind of say, like, hey guys, like, what do we think? It'll kind of be more of like a democracy, and we'll kind of just all take a vote and just say, like, hey, we don't feel like this person is super kind of connected at this moment to the clan, and we feel like we should move on. And that's not a dig at anybody. I don't think anyone at that moment fits that description. But that's kind of the vision that I see for the main clan's future, is a lot less structure, a lot more talking with one another as an entire group as we make decisions, less of a need for a leadership team, so to speak. There will still be a leadership team in place for kind of some more, I don't know how you, looking for the word here, kind of just like the organization of the clan, the management of the clan, setting up the clash tools, kind of just like that administrative, that was the word I was looking for, kind of like those admin things is basically what I'm using leadership for at this point. And so the leadership team currently in Maine is myself, Doc King, and Son of Jay, and we are going to add Todd to that group as well. I had a conversation with him, and he has accepted that role, so he's going to be a new co-leader in Maine. And then Lucifer Law and Bravs are also, anytime that they are in Maine, they will also be co-leaders as well. So that's the changes to Maine. Rising will be disconnected from the main clan. Maine is going to be closed. Rising will be invite only. If people from Maine want to go visit Rising, have a ball. But, I think that the hope that I have is that Rising learns how to play together, learns how to donate to one another, people that are learning the game are probably the best people to get feedback from, because it means that multiple people in the situation are learning. When everyone relies on me or everyone relies on law, the problem with that is that only one person in that scenario is truly learning, and you're just kind of getting, all you're really getting at that point is someone else's thoughts for how they would take out the base instead of figuring out your own identity, and what kind of player you're going to be. And then finally, Blue Summers and Torch Runner are going to be retired. Blue Summers is going to be retired immediately. So by the time this video comes out, Blue Summers will be gone. Hopefully I can figure out a way to edit my final statistics with Blue Summers. I was proud of what I was able to accomplish with Blue Summers in my time in TGF Rising. Torch Runner will continue to be in Rising Wars until I fail on a Town Hall 8 base and I lose that streak that I'm currently on. So however long that takes for that to happen. But I will be passing over leadership to Lucifer Law at the conclusion of Rising's most current war. So that's kind of the state of the Goodfellas. I wish I had maybe a little bit more of an upbeat tone as I was giving the talk, so to speak. But, we're sitting here on April 1st, and I feel like the clan has a lot different vibe to it than it did on January 1st when we had that war against One Hive Genesis. And, we've lost a lot of really great personalities, and unfortunately, the loss of those personalities has kind of just hit my own desire to play the game. So my hope for myself is that by having only the Town Hall 10 account to kind of focus on and kind of grind with, that I'll kind of become a more motivated Town Hall 10 player, and hopefully just give myself some more time to kind of explore the Town Hall 10 scene. So that's kind of the hope. I'm just going to fast forward Brad's attack here. Please, if you have any questions about this video or any concerns about the direction of the clan or don't feel like it's right for you anymore, absolutely hit me up one-on-one. I would love to talk with you about kind of ideas that you have or maybe changes that you would have liked to have seen. But by and large, I'm going to attach in our family chat a little bit of a notification on all the new rules, which are basically nothing. But just a couple of things around just like timers and how long they'll last in clash tools and all that. Because all that stuff is still important, and making sure that we manage our don't keep bases that we're not going to attack anytime soon called up. So that's the end of this video. I'm looking forward to Wars in Maine with KFC. I wish Rising the absolute best in their new journey forward without me in the clan. I think that one other thing I want to mention is that anyone in Maine who has a mini that is in Rising, so I'm talking about Twex, Edgar, LT, guys like that, it will be very important for you to realize that since I am no longer associated with Rising, it is no longer me who kind of can give passes. So usually, if all the 8s were cleared, I would just tell LT or Twex or something, hey, you don't have to bother getting your attack in. But that might not be the culture that they want to create over there. So you guys will obviously still be in the Rising chat room, and you guys should make a decision for yourself whether you want to kind of be in 2 clan families and make sure that, because the other people in the Rising now should be looking at your accounts as kind of the main accounts in that clan. So don't kind of go into this kind of thinking, oh, I'll just keep doing the same stuff I've been doing, because I am no longer the one that's calling the shots over there. So hopefully this all made sense. A lot of it was a little bit of a stream of consciousness. Like I said, hit me up if you have any questions, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you next time.